Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Do a Thing. My name is Nathan and today we'll be doing a thing with a huevos, an egg. I was fortunate enough to get a bunch of these eggs from the Low Ridge farm. I'm pointing up at buttons that I'm probably not going to put in this video, but I'm going to try. They have a YouTube channel. It's basically about farming life and getting to know your farmer, know where your food comes from. For somebody who likes to cook, it's incredibly important, and I think that we genuinely don't know where our food comes from enough. So they were kind enough to give me a bunch of eggs, and we're going to do a thing with them. We are going to do creme brulee, or in English, burnt cream. I know, it's ridiculously tasty sounding, but it is actually really tasty. So we're going to go ahead and get set up, crack some eggs, and we'll be back here in just a second. We're just going to separate the eggs here. We just need the yolks. We've got 5 yolks, and we'll separate the whites away and then use them for something very great and eggy. Maybe like a meringue for something, or I don't know, do a thing. So, as you saw from our last video, because I know you all watched it, we here like to separate our eggs with our hands just because it's so much easier. You don't have to worry near as much about breaking things. We'll set the whites in here, we'll get the yolks in there, and then we'll clean up afterwards because it's messy. If some of the whites make it in there, it's also not a big deal. We're actually going to use a fine mesh sieve to separate this at the end, just to make sure we don't get any shells, egg bits that are cooked, anything like that. Does that look gross? It looks gross. Again, I'm just talking to myself. No one's here. Quarantine was rough, guys. I have imaginary friends, and they talk to me. Alright, we've got these separated. I'm going to wash my hands because salmonella. Always use soap when you wash your hands. Pro tip. Okay, we'll get this out of the way, like that. Move this to the side. Wipe down the countertop here. Okay, make sure to go ahead and set your oven to 325 degrees. They're going to bake for anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes. I found 45 minutes works for me, but you'll need to keep track of it because every oven is different, just like every person is different. Your ovens are special too. So, we've got our eggs, 5 eggs here. What we're going to go ahead and do is combine our half cup of sugar. We'll go ahead and add a teaspoon of vanilla. This is actually bourbon vanilla extract that I got from my in-laws. Shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and put that in. And I've got just a 1/4 teaspoon of fine sea salt here. So many people underuse salt when it comes to sweets because they're scared of it just being too salty. It's okay. You need a little bit of salt to counteract some of all the richness that is in this dish. And it's still, just like sugar, helps elevate the dish and lift the flavors. So we'll put that in. We'll get a whisk. And we're just going to go ahead and get this going. And mate, right there. You don't want to do this too early, but this recipe really doesn't take too terribly long as far as prep goes. So the sugar can actually cook the egg yolks. If you're not careful, if you leave it in there too long, sugar can actually cook things. So we don't want that to happen because that would be really gross. And what we're doing here is we're just making a custard. That's basically all creme brulee is a custard, and then you put sugar on top of it and you burn it. It's pretty straightforward. But we're going to do a few key things here to elevate it, make it taste a little bit better. But right now we're going to go ahead and get our little stove thing set up. We're going to scald the heavy cream, and then we'll start mixing it in, going back and forth. We've got 2 cups of heavy cream here. I know, it sounds decadent, and that's because it is. Don't have it every day. Or do. I don't care. I'll be back. Bye. Oh, hey there. Welcome back. we've got our setup going here. We're going to go ahead and turn that on. Whoa, Bessie. Calm down. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our cream. We've got 2 cups of heavy cream here. I'm going to add this in. We're not trying to boil this or anything like that. We actually just want to get it right before simmering. We just kind of want to scorch it. So we've got 2 cups of heavy cream, and we've got about a teaspoon of orange zest. If you don't like orange, you don't have to use it. You can use lemons, limes. You can flavor it with whatever you want. It's simply a custard. I like this because we're going to finish with some blueberries and mint, and it tastes real good together. So we're going to go ahead and toss this in. It's a teaspoon of orange zest. And all we're going to do is mix this. Make sure you stir pretty consistently because we don't want the bottom to burn. But you'll know right before it's about to come to a simmer because the top of this will start to form a film that kind of shimmers and holds together, and that's right before the simmering point. And that's when we'll make our move. Okay, so we're just about to come up to simmering right now. And don't worry about all these orange bits. We'll go ahead and filter those out. But it's just about, you can see on the edge here, there's little bubbles starting to form. If I had some direct light over the top, you would see there's just a little skin that starts to form over the top of the cream when it gets hot. So you'll know then that you're about to get to the point where you need to go ahead and turn it off, because then you don't need to heat it anymore past that point. See, it's starting to simmer pretty good now. I mean, I'm a professional. I got mad confidence, but you can kind of see that. So now we'll give it one last stir before we take it off the heat. And then we're going to put it into our eggs, and we'll slowly be tempering our eggs. Which, again, if you watched the last video, you'll know how to do that. This will be old hat to you. Is that still a thing? Do people say old hat?
No.
Oh, see? Right there, about to simmer. I went ahead and killed it. We're going to go ahead and set this to the side. This is where you got to be a little careful, because you don't want to pour scalding heavy cream on your hands, because you won't have heavy cream to eat, and that's just terrible. So what we're going to do, I like to use a spouted pour thing like this just because it makes it easier in the long run, but I'm going to add the heavy cream that has the orange zest in it slowly into this, a little bit at a time. And that's just called tempering the eggs. So just a little. We're going to mix, give it a second. Because if we dumped it all in, it would basically be scrambled eggs. Sweet, milky scrambled eggs. Which is just disgusting sounding. A little bit more, constantly stirring. Gradually raising the temperature of the eggs. Go a little bit slower here. And then at a certain point, you can just go ahead and dump it in. We're almost to that point. I would say maybe about half the mixture, or a little less than half. Start pouring it in like this, kind of gradually. Making sure not to burn your ever-loving hands. Which, by the way, if you're smart, you'll just get a bigger bowl, but whatever. I've got mad professional skills, so when I burn myself, I don't let you see. Okay, that's our custard mixture. Now we get ready to pour it into ramekins. Okay, so let's talk about cooking these for a second. Again, our oven's at 325, preheated. If it's convection, you may want to drop it down at least 25 degrees, if not more. I would say probably maybe even 45. This is going to be a very gentle cook. So we're doing something called a Bain Marie, which is basically a water bath. It's a very gentle cook. We'll basically fill these ramekins up with our custard mixture. We'll set them in here and put really, really hot water half of the way up in this vessel. glass. What the heck are these things called? A baking tray. Sorry. And then we'll pop that in the oven for, like I said, my oven's about 45 minutes. But this is called a Bain Marie. It's just to make sure that the custard doesn't burn on the outside. It, unfortunately, is necessary. It's not something you can skirt around or skip. Otherwise, you'll have some nasty burnt cream. Like real burnt cream, not like the good kind that we're making. So I'm going to go ahead and filter this as I pour it. If you find that you don't have the dexterity for that, just get a bigger one of these and dump it straight through into another bowl. It's fine. I'm just doing this because I have it all and it looks pretty on camera. I do it for you guys because I care. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this through. You want to keep them about the same. This makes about 4 ramekins, which I believe these are 6-ounce ramekins. And 4 of these things will not last long in your house. I promise you. Once you taste it, they'll go real fast. I've only made a bunch of these recipe testing, but they don't last very long. Let's go back to this guy. As you can see, all of our orange zest, any bits of eggs that were cooked by the tempering process are now caught in here, and you won't get this weird eggy bit in your custard, which nobody wants that. Nobody. Well, if you do, I find myself doing that a lot. Another quick tip, always wipe down your surface, guys. That's tip number 1. But another quick tip is if you have one of these torches, great. If you have one of the big ones, I found it tends to cook things a little too quick, a little real burnt. But if you do have one, what you can do is go ahead and light it up. And on these, there's a little bit of bubblage and stuff like that. But if you just wave it across these real fast, all your bubbles will disappear. And you'll have a nice pretty top whenever you cook it. Magic. So we're going to go ahead and put some hot water in this, and then I'll place these in that. We'll put the whole thing in the oven. That's not much left to it. So this is what our creme brulee looks like just coming out of the oven. You can tell it's still hot, and it's got that nice little jiggle to it. You could go a little less if you want, but personally this is about 45 minutes for mine, and I think that's just about how I like it. Let it cool, come to room temperature, then refrigerate it 5 to 6 hours or overnight. But that's what it looks like when it just comes out of the oven. Okay, so our creme brulee has been resting in the fridge for preferably overnight. That's how long this one's been in there. I mean, I just finished it. But you can do as short as 5 to 6 hours. Before that, you're kind of pushing it. When you go to torch it, you may start to burn the cream, and it's not very good. So we're going to go ahead and torch this one. We're going to put some just plain white sugar on it. And on our table, because that's important. We're going to roll this around a little bit. Let it get coated. We're going to dump off the excess. And then we're going to go ahead and light this up. I have a little torch. If you do not have a little torch, if you don't have any fire at all, the only other option I have for you is to put it directly underneath the broiler of your oven. Turn on the broiler and let it melt. So we'll go ahead and torch this one. Flame is dangerous, be careful. I feel like I shouldn't have to tell people that, though. Not my audience, at least. You guys are very intelligent people, because you're watching me, so. And you want to be gentle with this. You don't want to stay on one spot too long. So that's it torched. And what I'm going to do next, and this is optional, you don't have to do this, but I like to do it. I like to add another layer of sugar. And just repeat this process. If you've got time, this just makes that really identifiable crack when you crunch into these things. And honestly, after you do this, if you have the time, it's kind of nice to put it back in the oven for the oven. Don't do that. Put it back in the fridge for another 30 minutes or something, just like that, just to get it cool and re-solidify if anything was getting too hot. And that's kind of the thing about the broiler and the oven. I've never actually done that round code, so I can't speak for it. I know a lot of people have had success with it. All I can say is get it close to that burner and watch it. Don't walk away, because it will burn the second you turn away. But that's this. I know. What we're going to do, since we already have some orange flavors going on in here, we're going to finish it with a couple blueberries and some pretty mint sprigs here. Use what's fresh and in season. If you guys, where you are in the world, if you don't have fresh blueberries or mint, just pick something that's, in season. And you're hard to go wrong, unless it's like a vegetable. Don't put like a piece of celery in here. That's just weird. And that's creme brulee. Honestly, this is a showstopper for as much little work as you have to put into this. Really, it truly is a showstopper. You bring out a bunch of these to your friends, family, they're going to be very happy with it. It's almost like a theater to it. If you want, you can torch it in front of them. It's kind of fun. And it packs a lot of flavor. It's really not that expensive either if you get all the ingredients in season. So give it a shot. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider subscribing and liking. To all my subscribers, I'd really like to say thank you. The support that we've had over just even our first couple of videos has been enormous. We really couldn't do this without you. You truly are the best people. That's all I've got for you today. Until next time, go do a thing. Sorry guys, you don't get to eat it then.
You want to talk through it?
You don't have
Just like being
to. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Money shot, listen to this. Oh man. That's so good. That's so good. Get it because you can see the custard. Forget about it. Done. We out.